नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि.
Nityanandam, welcome to the series Sannyas What, When, How, and Why. And today, this is the part 2. And if you all haven't watched the part 1 yet, the link is going to be linked to this video on the top, so you all can watch it. And many of you have even started sending your questions. If you are the viewer who is watching this for the first time, you can take a moment and use the hashtag Ask Sannyas and hashtag Nityananda, and tweet your questions so we can address your questions in this series. And today we are yet back again with a very special person. A person who, through her life, has demonstrated what a powerful woman means, what a chaste woman means.
And last time, after watching the video, many people inspired and many people getting their questions on sannyas answered. And today we are going to have her back again to answer many other questions that our sannyasis, our people have about sannyas. So with no further ado, let's welcome Ma Nityanandamayi Swami.
Nityanandamaka, so happy to have you here.
So happy to have you back.
Actually, the last series, the last time you came and you answered the questions, many people had gotten so many clicks, and like people had started sending messages. And we even have 2 more sannyasis who have asked their questions today, and they want you to address it. Like, because especially you being a celebrity, you had a life that someone could dream of. You literally lived a life that do everything through hard work, so much of hard work, and lived a celebrity life, and you had such a huge fan base, and you were faced with a malicious persecution and attack, and all they blackmailed you was for just one thing: tell a lie about your guru Swamiji, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Shri Nityananda Paramashiva. But despite of your life being a threat, you stood so strongly for the truth. And not just that, you dropped that whole life of, that being a star, and you took up sannyas. So this is something like something amazing for so many people. People cannot even fathom about it. Still, people even going to a normal job, and even though you have a lot of struggles in your life, when we talk about sannyas, it comes like, oh, why should I leave all these behind and come and take sannyas? So your life is a huge example of, like how Swamiji says, sannyas is the royal way to enlightenment, and you have shown that through your life, through your decisions.
And especially seeing your whole life, the choices that you have made, the decisions that you have taken, everything. It is actually, we have had so many people commenting, messaging that as a woman, for each of them or anyone with their the challenges that they are faced with in life, what choices they can make and how they can stand up, that strength, like you were sharing, the inner strength, having the inner strength. And when our inner strength is an incarnation, what it means. So that whole thing, it has been so inspiring, Akka. And I also wanted to share with you, we have had so many people commenting, messaging, who are so inspired and who are having so many clicks with the answers, with the kind of questions and the answers that are being told. So many common, the practical questions that people have are getting answered.
So we have two sannyasis who are asking their questions. So
Nityanandamaka, my question is, did you ever face challenges in sannyas life? If so, how did you resolve those?
Okay. See, sannyas, as Nathan, you told rightly, it is a royal life. And like Swamiji always defines it. But yes, it does have its challenges, but no way different from what you would find in a normal life. Only when you take it out of perception and try to make it something beyond ordinary, beyond understanding, it becomes challenging. Because the path of sannyas is nothing but the path towards enlightenment, the purpose of human birth, as Swamiji has defined and told, and which is what Hinduism teaches for the last 10,000 years of its existence. Challenges are always there because one, the most difficult thing I find, or I have found and I'm still finding, is the surrendering of the ego, the surrendering of the I to what we consider as higher than us, that is Swamiji, the ultimate, the God, the Guru. Because we have been brought up with certain ideas, we have our own decisions, and as a working woman, I have made so many decisions of my life based on my understandings. So, and based on my interactions with the world, what Swamiji does, especially as sannyasi as Swamiji, is he breaks our limited, I will say, a very selfish understanding of the world that we have. When that selfishness is broken at every aspect, whether the way we see ourselves or the way we relate to the world or anything, we understand it is selfishness and violence. Many times it's very hard for us to digest, because at the core of it, all of us believe that we are good people, we don't intend to harm others, and we don't get into conflicts, we don't get into fights, and we like to live a good life. That's what we all believe. I think every one of us, it's a common thread of our existence. But when Swamiji is showing, no, what you are thinking is absolutely the selfish way of looking at life. I'll just give a very small example of how I used to see it before, how I have learned from Swamiji, because for me it was the most difficult learning. For example, before I met Swamiji, before I took sannyas, we all have friends. So I've had many friends, and many of them are very close friends. But at some point of time or the other, people do tend to talk behind your back, or for no reason. They may be jealous of what you're doing. They may be jealous of your success, or just jealous of the way you look. Anything. People don't have reasons, and they backstab you. For example, as an actress, I know many actresses have gone and let's me lobbied to the producers or to the actors to get the role that I was already confirmed. And many times, just the day before the shooting starts, I would know someone else is doing the film. What happens at that point of time for me? I may be socially polite to that actor or the actress or the producers, whoever it is. I may be socially very polite, be friendly socially. But inside, it has caused a distrust, a pain, an anger. why they would do something. I don't go and lobby where some other actress has been already confirmed. I would not do that. Why did it not have the decency to at least tell me? See, this is the normal thought current I at least used to think of, and I used to think this is how we all think. This is a simple thing. If they didn't want to work, they could have just told. There is no need to be so, so ugly about it. Go behind our backs and do these kind of things. And as an actor, we have also been a victim of many um, fake news, fake rumors, and all sorts of petty vicious rumors. Like once I remember I was traveling in a train with my pre-monastic mother, and I was just reading a newspaper which I bought in the train station. This was about 15 years ago. And the first news that hits on the front page is actor Ranjita throws her mother out of her house because I wanted to live with some other actor. Yeah. I was actually, that was just probably the first 6 months or 8 months of when I started working as an actor. And I was so shocked. I was like, why would someone write such a vicious, blatant lie? First of all, it's a lie. On top of it, it is so vicious. It created a lot of hurt in me. And of course, it has created a sort of, we start creating a boundary, like what kind of people we should be interacting with. We start judging people.
Okay, actually, I would just like to highlight a point over here when you're sharing that first time when you're telling that's the first 8 months you're acting, that means you are just 16 years old. And for a 16-year-old, even normally when friends bullying would cause so much of, giving up on life. And right now we have many 16-year-olds who are trying to even commit suicide. But this is something that that's just like wow about you, is that the way you had handled it at that time, like though in that to news media where so many people are going to be consuming that news, and that is putting such blatant lies about you, and as a 16-year-old you had handled it. That's awesome.
And like when you're saying, only remembering at that time I was in a train in a public place, and I was beginning to feel, people are going to look at me as some wicked witch. And my mother is right next to me, and I don't hardly know the actor they were talking about. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we face consistently. What happens with these incidences? We start creating our boundaries, the kind of people we want to interact with. We withdraw from life. We don't face them head on, nor, like Swamiji told beautifully in a recent satsang, make them part of our alternative narrative. That was the most mind-blowing satsang, even after 10 years or 15 years of following Swamiji and his teachings. His concept of making the trolls part of our alternative narrative, I was just blown away by that. Putting it in practicality, maybe it may take me years and years or never, but I have seen Swamiji make that trolls, that abuse, part of his narrative, alternative narrative, without feeling hurt, without withdrawing, without violence. When we say violence, even withdrawal or feeling, why will those idiots write something like this? Why will they cause pain like this? Even that thought is actually violence. But I have seen Swamiji so many times, he will not have any of those reactions or responses. It would be just him watching and reacting. Not, I don't know, I won't say reacting to that, but responding to situations of life or any of these attacks from the space of who he is, the Paramashiva, the ultimate super consciousness. So when we have that as a role model, any obstacle, any challenges in sannyas, for me, I have only tried to bring one, Swamiji's teachings, the spiritual teachings, as a solution, and Swamiji's life, how he's living and showing us practically as a solution. I will not say I've not faced challenges. And like I said, ego, even the feeling of hurt, the feeling of what I explained to you now, it's a selfish feeling. Only when Swamiji broke that inside and made me understand, even feeling that that person is trying to violate you and feeling hurt about it is a selfish perception of the way you look at the world.
Wow. Wow.
Swami just made a 360-degree turn and said, why do you want to look at it as though he's targeting you? look at it as something he's making money for. That's it. It's simple. You're in the news. I mean, this is not related to the article I was talking 16 years ago, but this is how Swamiji assesses each situation and response response, because it's so difficult when we start trying to express Swamiji's life in human words. It can easily get distorted into the very human level of our existence. That is why I'm so careful when I have to explain any action of Swamiji. Then we see that when he made that as the way we should see the world, don't feel that he's attacking you. Even if he's written ill about you, okay, he's doing it to make money. Good, great, leave it. Why do you absorb the hurt, that
Like, I just
incompletion, the
remember
harshness?
the last time, like I think when we did the second season of yours honestly series, and
Mhm.
we had asked you a question about like what is something that really inspires you about Swamiji. You were mentioning multiple things, but one thing that really like from that time it's just there in me is about how you explained about how selfless Swamiji is, absolutely to the core. Like just this
Yes.
one, he's not even taking it on him, but he is making money, let him make. It's like it's just too much to even cognize or even comprehend. It is like wow. That's all I can even say. I'm just trying to comprehend and take it in.
Mm.
It's too
See,
beautiful,
one
Akka.
incident, like you said, that's Supreme. One incident, two incidents, we can actually say, okay, we can take this, okay, we can take it, okay, he's making money. But when it's consistent and so harsh without any reason, so violent without any reason, consistently, it is very difficult for us to continue holding that space of saying, oh, it's okay, let him make money. Or, it's just, he's just being integrated to his profession of whatever you call, I will not even say integrated to journalist ethics, but integrated to his purpose of his life, whether it could be money making. But when they're consistently violent and violative to your very existence or the belief that you have, it tends to cause a lot of hurt. But I've seen that Swamiji, it never caused any hurt, or any action or reaction from him comes from the space of being protecting myself. What we do withdrawal is நம்மளுக்கு எதுக்கு leave it, நம்மளுக்கு எதுக்கு leave it. That's what we do. சரி பக்கத்து ஏதோ அவங்க சொல்லிட்டு அங்க போயிட்டாங்க விட்டுடலாம். He is not like that. He is proactive in trying to make them understand that their perceptions are wrong.
Oh my God.
So to have to do that is I have to look at the person who violated me as a friend first, as a human being first, then as a friend.
Yeah,
And make him see what in him, the violence in him, the suffering in him, that is making them respond like that, and get them to completion. So they are powerful about their life and their life choices.
Wow. It's like
That
Akka,
is,
it's
yeah.
just too much. It's clicking in multiple levels, Akka. Truly, like when I saw this question from Madaya Swami, I was like, okay, in what way Akka might answer this? I was curious about this because, like, you're the caliber that you're in, like especially even when Nakhada people come and meet you, and they always are awed about the way you are holding yourself as a sannyasi, and absolutely not even a bit of anything related to okay what stardom that you are having. Nobody can even cognize that.
Actually, that
And
is
so-
one important point that I wanted to share also. Like, see, for someone as a celebrity, right? Anyone, I have seen, even now we read so many articles where when there are celebrities get so affected, when there are any rumors spread about them or anything, because as a celebrity, their whole life builds upon that the spotlight that they're constantly put on. So the fan base or their whole life is built upon people's image that they have. That's why they have to be so careful. But for you, you have been like a peak where like completely, I have seen so many people tell me that they used to watch the Krishna Dasi serial that you used to act, so just so that they were, because they were admiring you as a woman, how you were standing up. But completely, the after taking the life of sannyas, it's completely contrast, where nothing is based on your identity. It is all about, when especially living as a sannyas itself is all about giving up all what we think as our identity, and completely building our life consciously based on consciousness.
So when especially this question was come, like what challenges Akka faced, I was really curious. And now this is something, even the first statement that you said about surrendering the ego, it clicked to me in one level. But now about the alternative image, I'm still the alternative narrative. I'm still trying to comprehend it, Akka. It's actually, I never, when Swamiji explained it also in the satsang, I never looked at it from this perspective at all. Just too beautiful. I'm sure that
always
even all
reminds
the viewers are also enjoying this.
It always reminded me of the story in when Krishna was alive, how Shishupala used to consistently attack Krishna, and Krishna said, "Okay, he'll have 100 times he can attack me, and then he will face the karma of that actions." All the while, I used to only feel how Krishna is so compassionate with Shishupala to allow him, even as an enemy, to be part of his life, so he can enjoy the presence of Krishna. Or even telling the word Krishna, I hate you. But the first word is I hate you, or Krishna, I hate you. You have to have the word Krishna. Right? So the word Krishna itself is such a beautiful expression of the Parandama. So for me, I see Swamiji as that expression. So when we see that, every time someone says, I only feel, oh God, you guys are so in for it. You don't know what you're getting into it, because you're just going to be in love with Swamiji. Every time I see the troll video or anything, I only feel that, okay, you guys have joined, everybody's joined it. You see, that is the unconsciousness. Where this is again Swamiji says, no, the unconscious, the soul, the jiva is always seeking the Bhagwan. That unconscious part is making them seek Swamiji. That's a deep inner being, the jiva, but their conscious decisions of how they've imbibed the society, what their ideas they're growing up with, they feel this is the only way they can relate to him. But ultimately, even the troll, if I have to see it, it is the dialogue between the jiva and the Ishwar, with the Jagat as a troll.
Wow.
Troll would be the Jagat.
Wow. Wow. I never cognized it like this, Saka. This is like too beautiful. I'm sure even our devotees, like Swamiji's devotees, are going to be enamored by this. This is such a like, I don't know how to put it into words, but I'm just awed by this. This dimension, I have never even cognized it like this.
For me, I learned it from Swamiji only, because I've a little bit of Krishna's and Krishna's life. We of course read as a seekers. We've been reading for a meditation. So for me, it was easy to map each and everything to either Krishna's life or Sant Jnaneshwar's life or Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba's life. All the biographies which I have read, I'm actually able to see it in action live around Swamiji and his Sangha. Especially this whole dialogue. Each of us have a different dialogue with Swamiji. That is the Jiva, Jagat and Ishwar dialogue. Each one of us has a narrative, and the trolls are part of that narrative. You as his daughters, and now Gurukul Balasans, some of them as sons. Each one has a narrative. The trolls are part of that narrative of theirs with the Ishwar, but in the language that they know, which they're not willing to break or even understand this.
Wow. Okay, actually, this brings me to the next question we have from Manitya Deepikananda Swami.
Nityananda Makka, Deepika Swami here. My question to you is, being a real life heroine as actress and being a real life heroine as a monk, how do you feel in both of these roles? Can you please explain?
as a vocation, one thing I understood was that being a real life actor is impermanent. It is not the permanent identity that I had. Even at that point of time, I was also always looking for what next I can do. As a vocation, I'm not saying as a person, but as a vocation. Okay, I'm an actor now. I have been working for 5 6 years. What can I expand myself into as a director or as a producer, or what are my various options I have in front of me? I would always look into expansion from the space of impermanence. Any job is an impermanent thing. As a sannyasi, your identity, your vocation, everything is a permanent grounding. It is all together. You're a sannyasi, your vocation and your personality, your attributes, your characteristics. So from here, when I'm looking at life, there are no other options, but the focus is enlightenment, as Swamiji always tells us. Enlightenment and Guru God. So you have a clear focus in life. Your path is very, very clear, and you don't get faltered by various other options. You don't get confused. You don't get nervous. You don't feel like falling off the bandwagon because you don't know which to choose. Here you have very clear path that enlightenment is your goal, and Swamiji is going to be walking us only towards that. So that clarity is helps us in many, 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 I will not say decision makings, but many, many of our thought currents start aligning to that, to the higher goal. Then life is so much easier. Other than that, I don't see much of a difference between an actor and a sannyasi as a person.
Akka, actually, this is so beautiful, like the way you have put it, Akka, because I remember how in one satsang where Swamiji is talking about the Isavasi Upanishad, that time Swamiji will tell, like, what you derive your strength from. Like Akka was sharing now that each, when you're outside, any one normal life, whatever your purpose may be, whatever it might be, even if your context is to serve humanity, when you're outside, normal charity activities if you do also, but our strength is always derived from outside, like based on whether people around you feel good about you, or based on whether you feel nice, there is no conflicts with people around you. All of that, it is always from outside. So when anything on the outside falters, then your identity is shaken. But here,
Yes.
our inner strength is not even as it is an incarnation, like we have Swamiji, and we know that is he is the ultimate. Like how Akka was sharing about Krishna, same way that sweet expression of the cosmos informs Swamiji. So when we have Swamiji as our strength inside, that means anything may come and go, whether people are understanding, not understanding anything. That time, our whole that inner identity, or what to say, the inner strength will never be shaken. This is a very beautiful how Akka shared it is so nice, Akka. That is so true. Like as a person, we may not change. Like even many people from outside to inside, they might still be seekers, still be all that. But our very definition of strength in our life will completely change. That was so beautiful, Akka. Like it just clicked with me when Akka was sharing.
Like you said, na, and the one thing goal of sannyas is like Swamiji's goal, like we discussed so many times, we shared earlier with everybody, is the quality of giving a better quality of life to every human being. That is only the enlightenment science which Swamiji is reviving through this Kailasa. What really, every day I feel, what is the bigger thing we can give to the world? I will not even say gift because it's not ours to give, it is Swamiji's. What more can we give behind to the world, by which the world would feel, yes, she has done or he has done something good for me or for the world. And that I think can happen only as a sannyasi, because you're so committed, clear. You cannot be diverted from that goal no matter what. Because the end result is, one is our own progress of enlightenment, two is mission of Swamiji's. When I was meeting, Swamiji was just explaining his, I will not say explain, that is sharing his vision of his incarnation, why he came to this planet Earth, and what is the purpose of his avatar. And he said so beautifully that the purpose of my incarnation is to better the quality of life of every human being on this planet. The moment he said those words, what visually impacted me was, literally an individual sitting in some remote corner in Africa or in some remote island nations, in the remotest corners of the world. I could visually see people living a better quality of life without fear, greed, jealousy, suffering, just by following Swamiji's teachings. So when this visualization, literally, it was like someone stuck it on my brain. The enormity of even of just declaring his incarnation, the purpose of his incarnation, I think it just took me by my gut. Even to imagine, even to even declare, to think to this extent, is you need something beyond ordinary, beyond extraordinary, I would say, even in human terms. See, as an actor, I have met so many directors, so many actors who do have, who are cut above the rest, who are exceptional in their fields. But every person, every individual I have seen have a very limited vision of their life, of their life's purpose, of their families or their professional capacities. But Swamiji's vision for, or his declaration of his incarnation or the avatar is one. He has the same expanded vision for each and every one of us. Whether you are a devotee, whether you are a sannyasi, whether you are a adinavasi, or whether you're just a volunteer, his vision of what each one of us is capable of is that expanded, that deep, which we are not even able to cognize with our brain that we have these capacities or that we can do these things. Right? But when Swamiji says you can do, our first thing is fear. No, I don't think I'll be able to do. I'm not fit to do. It starts with that. But he works in breaking that fear. He works with each and every individual. I have not seen Swamiji work only with Gurukul Balasans or only with sannyasis or only with devotees. He is the most accessible guru on this planet Earth. We all know. Attending to each devotees through his social media managers, and he addresses and gives solutions which are customized to each and every devotee. And that is the uniqueness of
actually this conversation with you has been like really giving so many clicks. Just these two questions could have, I didn't even imagine these kind of answers would even open up, because these are given like really a new perspective even for me to think, and I have a lot to contemplate more on all these things that you just shared, because there's something profound, especially the way what Swamiji is doing. I never imagined that, yes, people sitting in Africa or some of the poorest places where they are not even getting access to basic things, but the vision that Swamiji has. And we have always seen that anything Swamiji declares, he just makes it into a reality. So all these things that you shared now, it's just too beautiful, Akka. And thank you so much. And we have a few more questions that I've lined up. I don't want to take much of your time. And so all those people who are waiting to ask your questions, or you got some clicks that you would like to share, you all can just take a moment and go and tweet it with the hashtag AskSannyas and hashtag Nityananda. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, and any questions you have, even you could leave it in the comments. Thank you so much. Really, really thank you so much for taking your time off your very busy schedule and answering these questions. It was really amazing, Akka. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma. Before we sign off, I just want to tell the viewers and the two satsangs that we spoke of, that is what Nityananda mentioned, the Ishavasya Upanishad satsang, and the satsang which I shared about, where he speaks about, Swamiji speaks about the alternative narrative. Both the links we will be sharing in the description box below. And I really recommend everybody, even if you have seen the satsangs, please re-see these two satsangs from our perspective of what we have shared. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in.
Nityanandam. Thank you all, Nityanandam.